In the quiet town of Amityville, New York, sits a house with a history so dark, it has chilled the world for decades. This isn't just a ghost story. It is the terrifying tale of the Lutz family and the 28 days they spent in a home stained by unimaginable violence. Welcome to the Amityville Horror. Our story begins not with the Lutz family, but with a tragedy that set the stage for everything to come. On a cold November night in 1974, inside this very house, 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr. took a rifle and systematically murdered his entire family as they slept. His parents, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters, all gone in a single, horrifying event. When questioned by police, DeFeo's story was inconsistent, but he was eventually convicted of 6 counts of second-degree murder. The motive remained murky, a dark question mark hanging over the Grand Dutch colonial house at 112 Ocean Avenue. The house, now a crime scene, sat empty, its silence heavy with the echoes of that terrible night. A little over a year later, in December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz, along with Kathy's 3 children, were looking for a new home. They stumbled upon the house on Ocean Avenue. It was beautiful, spacious, and came with a boathouse and a pool. The asking price was an unbelievable bargain, just $80,000. The real estate agent felt obligated to tell them about the house's history, about the DeFeo murders. Despite the grim past, the Lutz family saw it as their dream home. They decided the tragedy was in the past and that they could fill the house with new, happy memories. They bought it and planned to move in just before Christmas. Before moving in their furniture, they asked a priest, Father Ray Mancuso, to come and bless the house. As the priest walked through the rooms, sprinkling holy water, he entered a specific upstairs bedroom. It was the room that had belonged to 2 of the murdered DeFeo boys. He reported feeling an unseen hand slapped him and heard a deep, malevolent voice command him to get out. Shaken, he left the house, later warning Kathy Lutz to stay away from that particular room. The family, though concerned, decided to proceed with their move, perhaps not fully grasping the warning they had been given. The first few days were deceptively calm, but soon the strange occurrences began. It started subtly. Cold spots would appear in random areas of the house, even with the heat cranked up. Mysterious, unpleasant odors would waft through the halls and then vanish just as quickly. Doors would open and close on their own. Windows would slam shut. George Lutz became obsessed with the fireplace, constantly tending to the fire, feeling an ever-present chill that no amount of heat could touch. He started waking up at 3:15 a.m. every single morning, the exact time the DeFeo murders were believed to have occurred. His personality began to change. He grew withdrawn, irritable, and angry, a stark contrast to the man he was before. For Kathy, the horror was just as personal. She was plagued by vivid nightmares of the murders, seeing the events unfold as if she were there. She would feel an unseen presence touching her in her sleep. One day, she looked in the mirror and saw the face of an old woman staring back at her for a fleeting, terrifying moment. The youngest child, Missy, began talking to a new imaginary friend she called Jody. Jody wasn't like other imaginary friends. Missy described Jody as a demonic-looking pig with glowing red eyes, who could change shape and sometimes appeared outside her bedroom window. The paranormal activity escalated dramatically. The family would hear phantom footsteps and the sound of furniture being dragged across the floor upstairs when no one was there. One night, Kathy levitated several inches off her bed while she slept, witnessed by a terrified George. Green, gelatinous slime oozed from the walls and keyholes. A crucifix on the wall inexplicably turned upside down. Swarms of flies would appear inside the house, even in the dead of winter. The children also suffered. Missy's imaginary friend Jody became more menacing, and her brother Greg saw the red-eyed creature staring at him from outside. The house was no longer a home. It had become a prison of fear. Desperate and at their wits' end, the Lutz family turned to the only people they thought could help: Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens were well-known paranormal investigators, their work having already gained them a degree of fame. They agreed to investigate the house. Accompanied by a team of researchers and a television crew, the Warrens conducted a seance. Lorraine, a clairvoyant, immediately felt an overwhelming sense of dread and described the presence in the house as profoundly demonic. She had visions of the DeFeo family's bodies laid out on the floor, covered in white sheets. During the investigation, a photographer took a series of infrared photos. One of them, after being developed, seemed to show the ghostly image of a little boy with glowing eyes, peeking out from a doorway. This chilling photograph has become one of the most famous pieces of evidence associated with the case. Ed Warren concluded that the house was infested by a powerful, inhuman spirit, possibly drawn to the land long before the house was even built, and amplified by the violence of the murders. The final night for the Lutz family was the breaking point. The activity reached a terrifying crescendo. Banging sounds erupted from all over the house, as if a marching band was parading through their living room. Furniture was thrown about by an unseen force. The family claimed they saw a large, hooded figure that pointed at them menacingly. George and Kathy grabbed the children, fled the house with only the clothes on their backs, and never returned. They had lasted only 28 days. The story didn't end when the Lutzes left. Their harrowing experience was documented in Jay Anson's 1977 best-selling book, The Amityville Horror, which propelled the story into a global phenomenon. A blockbuster film followed in 1979, cementing the house's place in horror history. But with the fame came intense scrutiny. Skeptics and researchers began to pick the story apart. They pointed out inconsistencies, arguing that the Lutzes, who were facing financial difficulties, fabricated the entire haunting for money and fame. Lawyers involved in the DiFio case came forward to say they had invented some of the supernatural elements with George Lutz over many bottles of wine. So, what is the truth? Was the house at 112 Ocean Avenue truly a gateway for demonic forces, awakened by a brutal mass murder? Or was it an elaborate hoax, a modern folk tale spun for profit? The debate rages on to this day. Subsequent owners of the house have reported no unusual activity, living peacefully within its walls. Yet, the story of the Lutz family continues to captivate and terrify us. Whether real or imagined, the Amityville horror taps into a primal fear, the idea that the very place we call home could turn against us. It remains one of the most famous and most controversial true horror stories of all time. What do you believe? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this dive into the dark, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more chilling stories.